Welcome back. Kids are heading back to school, and for many of them, that means back to sports. So, for parents, how do you make sure they are staying healthy on the field or the court? Well, our next guest is joining us to answer that question. Please help me welcome Camille Bordelon. She is the manager of sports medicine at Children's Hospital New Orleans. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I am doing good. Thanks for being here because, look, academics are important in school. We all know that, but so are the sports. And I know so many kids are ready to get back on the courts and the fields. But before they do, I want to ask you, what should parents do to help prepare their kids for school sports this year?
Yeah, so, as you said, everyone's excited to be getting back, especially after the year we had. And the main thing for parents, just following up with any issues or injuries that maybe happened this past year, especially with how the year was a little different. It wasn't as easy sometimes to follow up with some issues. So any pre-existing conditions, injuries, illnesses, just making sure they're getting in with their primary doc, their pediatrician, just to follow up and make sure they're all good before they're starting back. And again, with that, if they were healthy this year, still doing that annual wellness check, that check-in with their pediatrician, just to do the general screenings to make sure they're all good before they start playing again.
So important to know, get that physical, everyone. Now, I'm curious, Camille, before we talk about different injuries that children may get while playing school sports, is there like a ranking system that parents should know when trying to decide what sport to play for their kids? Like, is football the most dangerous? Is soccer the most dangerous? How do they determine that?
Right. So, in general, anything can be dangerous in a way, but the way typically we rank them is contact and equipment sports. So your football, your lacrosse, your hockey. I don't know much hockey is around here, but in general, think about the equipment, and then with that, you throw in the contact. So that's kind of your first rank of what we would consider most dangerous, or I say most high risk, right? And then from there, you kind of trickle down through the landing, think about like gymnastics and volleyball with jumping. But so kind of your contact and your equipment are kind of your top of your pyramid, and then scale down through there.
Some great tips. Now let's talk about injuries. We don't want the children to get injuries, but if unfortunately they do get an injury, what are some specific injuries parents should be on the lookout for when their kids are playing school sports?
Yeah, so right now, especially in South Louisiana, heat illness, dehydration is one of the biggest things we want parents to look out for. It's very easy, to think just because, your kid's playing, they look fine. But with the summer heat, which kind of lasts, as we know, throughout most of the year, heat illness, dehydration is a big one we want to look out for. Also, overuse. Nowadays, kids are involved in all kinds of sports, all kinds of seasons. They transition from one season to the next, summer league to training sessions and through the school year. So overuse is also something we really want to look out for. We want kids to play all the sports. We want them to be involved and active, but we also want to make sure they're getting that adequate rest, their body's being allowed to recover so they can keep playing those multiple sports.
That is so true. So when we talk about trying to prevent these injuries, whether it's heat illness or overuse, is there any tips you can offer parents? Is it really to just talk to your kids?
Yeah, absolutely. So talking to your kids, the biggest one, talking and listening, but also, so we'll go with heat, making sure they're hydrated, not just during, but before, during, and after practice and training sessions. Making sure that they're wearing, proper attire. In July, you don't want to be outside in a sweatshirt and sweatpants, So light clothing, loose clothing, making sure that they have adequate breaks between workouts. Some kids train in the morning and then they're training again in the afternoon. So paying attention to the time of day they're training, being out in the heat, again, making sure they have water, sports drinks, making sure they're fueled properly with food. Kids sometimes won't eat breakfast and then they train till the afternoon till they get home. So making sure they're prepared and have all the resources they need. And also the big thing with listening to them. If they feel dizzy, nauseous, don't look right, making sure you're checking in and making sure they're getting the breaks, and kind of the same to make sure the parents are talking with the coaches about these things.
Some great tips this morning. And also talk to your kids, but also talk to the coaches, because sometimes the kids love the sport so much that they may just, lie a little bit to their parents so that they can keep playing.
Yeah.
But those are some great things to look out for this morning. Thank you, Camille, for joining us this morning. And hey, we have 2 more resources for you all. If you're looking for more tips, visit nata.org or chnola.org for more information on how to keep your kids safe during this upcoming sports season. All right, everyone, stick with us. We'll be right back.